Man, we're not going to find Grover anywhere. I've looked under the entire couch. Let's dig backwards in time just a little bit to talk about where PrinnyCast actually came from. I want to welcome a special guest, Prinny, today. We have Marcus, all the way from Canada.
Hi.
Which is a different part of the underworld, I guess.
Dude. Do I have the right script?
I don't know. We didn't hand them out. We wrote them on napkins, and I think they got left at the cafeteria.
So who's the guy in the trench coat?
You can't see me, but I'm staring.
0.0.
Yes, that... Okay,
Maybe we should start again.
They usually go like this. So welcome to the show. So there's a special reason why Marcus is joining us today. A reason I won't actually get into. But there's a second reason that he's joining us today. And that is the origins of PrinnyCast. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Actually, it was a little more than like a year and a half, 2 years. But still, there was this discussion between Marcus and another friend of ours named Mike about doing a little podcast thing where we're just going to get together and discuss various random things of whether it's movies or anime or video games or TV shows or just things in life and the internet and whatever. Because they've got great voices, we've all got differing sides and opinions to us. I mean, we get along just fine, but I don't think any of the three of us actually see eye to eye on a lot of things sometimes. But
I completely disagree.
Well, I see what's there.
But I'll let you continue.
But anyway, yeah, it seemed like a really good thing at the time because all of us had this period where we had this little void of time and we just needed something to focus attention and energies to, and it seemed like a quick and easy thing that we could just throw ourselves into and get going on. But lo and behold, it wasn't shortly after that we all got busy again, and it seems really funny to think about back in a time when I had free time. It's a long time ago, dude.
I seem to recall, dude, a time when we were trying to do a radio play, and then that devolved into some kind of podcast discussion. But we were having difficulty deciding exactly what it was about us in particular that people would want to listen to, other than just the fact that we're charming.
Podcasts out there? I don't think
that's, yeah. I think that's the gist of a podcast. He might not know what he's talking about, but he's interesting. Ta-da.
Entertainment value, that's what it's all about.
That's right. And failing that, video game theme.
Informity. So yeah, after that kind of fell apart, it was about a year later that Mike and I, we've always talked about video games all the time anyway, so when it came up as just part of a discussion where I was just offhand mentioning it, and he seemed really excited about the idea of doing it. I never pictured Mike being the sort to, just want to sit there and discuss things randomly for long periods of time. And he was so on board with it, he actually kind of pushed me.
Well, it seems to be working.
And it wasn't about a month later that we actually just started up one day, and we had no idea what the heck we were doing. If you've seen episode 1, you know what a mess it was.
Well, it was good of him to push you, because I know you do your best work when you're far outside your comfort zone.
And it wasn't like the episode after that we had Grover on as a guest host, and he stuck with us ever since. And there's been several times we've been trying to get extra people in here every now and then, Marcus in particular, and it just never seemed to work out. There was always something that would kind of get in the way, or a conversation somebody didn't feel particularly comfortable with jumping in on. So we've talked to some other people about guest hosting every now and then. And so here's your first time on the show, and what a one to get on.
That's what I'm hearing, yeah. I'm feeling kind of ready.
All right.
Whenever it happens.
One of the reasons why you're here is Grover's been kidnapped by some Zynga fanboys, and we've got to go rescue him. So, I thought safety in numbers, 3 heads are better than none.
Right.
Napalm, So, yeah.
We need,
extra help, reinforcements.
Fanboys sound dangerous.
Yes. So, from there, it was mostly just a design idea of what we wanted to do with the show, and obviously gaming was the aspect that we shared in common the most, me and Mike. And so, from there, it kind of blossomed into what we've come to know as the show now. We tried to have little segments. We start off with the intro, we continue on with our name dropping and our advertisements, and we move on to what games we've been playing this week, and then we move on to the game news, and then we move on to the topic, and then we move on to the credits. And that's kind of a setup that we've got going for us, and it seems to be working. We're splitting the videos down the middle now, where usually right after the game news, we're putting the topic and the video afterwards, and haven't heard any complaints about that yet. And since you came in late, any chance that you've been playing anything interesting this week, Marcus?
Pure Skyrim. Can't get off the Skyrim. Skyrim's got me. I didn't play it when it first came out. Got me kind of recently. I had gotten a copy, and I never touched it because I didn't want to get back into games at that particular time. But of course, I randomly just picked it up when I was most busy and really could use the time for something else. And 100 hours later or something. Can't get rid of the Skyrim.
It happens to all.
The only thing that actually managed to beat my addiction is when I got married in the game. To me, this says something about my my outlook. But I got married, and then I suddenly had to go in real life, so I saved the game, and then I went. And the next time I came back, but it didn't have the same savor. The dream is over.
I used to be an adventurer like you until I got married.
Until I got a battle axe to the knee.
So I took a ring to the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A winner is you.
that's right.
But think of all that survivalist experience that you now have to survive the wilds of Canada.
That's true. Because, you'd think I would get enough of living in real-life Skyrim. I haven't simulated it all. But somehow,
Well, I thought...
that's what it should have been. It should have been like Skyrim. It's like Canada, only not cold in real life, and you get to sit down. Yeah.
See, recently we got accused of accusing American gamers as being frothing idiots. So I thought, I should give the Canadians a chance to get insulted, right?
That's true. Other than that, I have not been playing any games. I have been focusing my attention rather on a million other things in my house that's falling apart, and also on pen and paper gaming. That's something.
I was going to say, I hear that, but then you got to the pen and paper gaming, and that's making a big comeback, I've noticed. There's a lot of people I know who maybe never even played it before that suddenly seems to be into it now. I don't know if it's related to, the return of card games, because it seems like a lot more people are playing these card games.
Well, it stands to reason. To do the card games, people like to have the shops, and I see a lot of... You would think that those shops would sort of disappear in the new economy, because, it's kind of the last thing you would expect people to spend money on. But actually, they're very popular, and there's lots of new games, and every little area has one of these, quote-unquote nerd stores where they sell models, comics, pen and paper stuff, cards. And now when I go to our local store, it has got a million guys in there, and then they're in there to do the card games, but then there's the older Dungeons and Dragons nerds that are there, and they're sort of teaching them the ways.
You can tell them from their wizard beards.
That's right. That's right, they get caught in the door of the minivan.
I should probably stop making all these references that might offend people. I might get up Dawson's Creek without a paddle.
No, that was offensive.
That's what I thought.
Look, man, just get some good material in here.
Okay.
I don't want to wait for the show to be over.
So we'll have to work harder, stronger, faster, never over, right? Okay.
That's not from Dawson. That's not from the Dawson.
No, that's from...
What are you doing, man?
That's from pop
not from
culture.
the Dawson. Are you that?
Dawson's Creek is in pop culture.
You're tripping.
But yeah. All right. Moving forward with that, I think part of what makes the PrinnyCast pop from other podcasts, and I'm not bragging about this, I'm not the only one that's actually said that, is that we have this video presence to us. I would like to do more animations and stuff like that in the actual video itself, but anybody that's worked with Vegas knows that it isn't the last program that you want to use, maybe second to Windows Movie Maker, to be making animations in. It is a pain in the behind. So
Please, donate generously.
Yes.
So Chris can get new software, so you can see more animations.
Not only should I be able to get a copy of Premiere and a computer to handle it, so you can kind of get the idea of what kind of donations to be sending, having a full-time staff to use it. Yeah. So yeah, load us up with that money. We'll get us a PayPal.
Sexy staff.
Yes.
That's right, dude.
I'm trying to find ways of making things easier as it is, because as we've mentioned on podcasts before, the trouble with using trailers and pretty much anything that isn't footage we capture ourselves, it gets flagged a lot. So eventually we're going to get into a situation like we did with the game movie things, and it's going to be even worse, and I really don't want to see that day. So trying to find ways of making it simple to get the episode together quickly, because I basically do everything in a period of 36 hours, and that's not a lot of time for a hour show, with the editing and the sound fixing, and then going in and doing the video stuff too, and then uploading, which takes about 3 hours on my lovely internet connection. So yeah, there's another side of that topic somewhere there, and I feel like I'm retreading my steps, which is really awkward with these legs.
Just stumpy.
Yeah.
It's hard to climb stairs.
Yeah. But on the other hand, being somebody from the outside looking in, and not to make you an outsider, because you're not. You're like a secret spy in the background of nothing, because there is nothing to be a background to, because we can't afford one. Where do you think the show could go from here?
Well, nowhere after that.
No. All right, good night, folks.
That rich visual tableau that you just created of a super spy hiding in plain sight in a white background. And his pants don't fit. That's generally the way I feel about life. I feel that there's obviously an animation solution, but you're talking about a myriad of different things.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the show as a complete...
Perhaps if there was, more of a specific section of the whole format where you were going to talk about one particular subject, and the rest of it was just sort of switching between different screen caps and stuff. So if you wanted to get some animation, that way you could work on it before the podcast actually happens. And so that way you can sort of work on it in your own good time, and then when the time comes, you've got a bunch of sort of footage of the game, for example, or video capture of something, and then you can lay the recording in that section over top. That way, the only bit of it that is actually topical, and is supposed to be, say, showing a game, is only 10 to 15 minutes of the entire podcast. Or maybe 25. But at least that way you could work on it beforehand.
Well, I'm not talking about big budget animations by any means. It'll be a lot like the stuff that we've already done in the past with just the goofy little pop-ups. And if there was a way for me to do better animation, I probably would do it, even though I shouldn't, because it's time-consuming. I'm working on a music video now that's a revamp of a very old song I did back in the 2003 era called I Love Sushi, and I'm trying to get that posted, but I really want to have like these really stiffly animated puppets singing the song, and that's kind of a time-consuming epic.
Sushi!
Kind of wish I could re-record that, but there's no way of doing that now without completely redoing the song.
I quite enjoyed the turkey song. That is this sort of sad, flowing piano song, and then when you least expect it, there's a guy singing about a turkey on the fire.
Yes, that is definitely one of my favorite obnoxious creations.
That was lovely. That was lovely. It made me cry and hungry at the same time.
Hopefully the crying wasn't because of your ears bleeding from somebody singing.
No, I was mostly just hungry.
Okay, good.
Yeah, mostly hungry.
So then I paused the song and came back with like a turkey drumstick.
At least it was there handy.
I have a vending
Context
machine.
sensitive.
I have actually a turkey leg vending machine in my house. I won it at a Japanese game show.
That is...
This all really happened. Go to www.marcusandhisturkeylegs.jp.gov.net.
Yeah, it would have to be
Slash
an
proof.
address, because if I type Marcus and his turkey legs into Google, it'd probably come out something else.
Look at the man with the turkey legs.
So yeah, if anybody out there has comments or suggestions for the show, by all means, share them with us. We'd like to get that feedback. So on that note, what about you, Mike? What do you think we should be doing to improve the show? Or can we? Are we already perfect?
I agree with Marcus. I think more structure, like a more structured layout. Kind of like the news section, but for the whole show.
Well, I try to keep up with ideas to jump into. You can definitely tell the differences between the shows that I prepare for and the shows we don't. But it seems like the more I prepare for the show, the more I dominate it. And I don't like doing that, because you guys don't take a lot of notes. And you kind of follow the lead, which is cool, but at the same time, I don't want it to be my show. It's a group effort.
Why must I always dominate mankind? Why? Why do I possess the will to power?
If you keep distracting me, I'll never change the course.
Why? Curse my tyrant heart.
Yeah, I'm the reason that everywhere on the internet it tells you to submit.
Kneel before Zod. Kneel before Chris.
My thoughts on the matter are pretty much what I've already said. I would like to see a more complicated, more interesting show visually, but I'm trying to simplify things, so I'm kind of backhanding those ideas of mine. I'd like to get Grover's take, but we'll have to rescue him from that camp of campiness first.
One thing I might add is that one thing you could do is, if you had some, say for the sake of example, footage of a game, so video capture of a game being played, and you want to talk about that game, you could actually have us all watch it on a stream as we record the show, and we can sort of talk about it and move in different directions about it, or maybe even goof around with it, just sort of Mystery Science Theater a little bit, and then you can play that back, and what you end up with, even if it's not necessarily lined up with the video you're going to use, is very strictly on that subject. So you can play around with the video, and you'll have lots and lots of material that's directly inspired by what the viewer is seeing on the screen at the time. So now you have an audio file that can be laid over, image of you playing Mario or whatever, and we happen to be talking about Mario in detail, because that's what we were watching when we were talking.
Well, that is the plus side of us actually streaming now, but
Yeah, now that we are, yeah.
there's another problem with that. A, I can't watch the stream and record at the same time, or you guys all sound like robots on my recording. Curse you, internet! And secondly, most streams, even on really good internets that people can have, there's still like a 5 to 10 second lag between what you're watching and what's being said.
And that's not counting the commercial that they always throw at you either, because that puts it even farther behind.
Well, I certainly don't think it has to be lined up. I mean, let's say that we wanted to talk about Skyrim for 20 minutes or something, just for the sake of example. We would all stream, and we would all watch and talk about it, and then even though you wouldn't actually play the exact same footage with the exact same audio file on top of it, what you would have is you would forget about the video footage when you finally go to create the podcast. You would just use the sound file, which is directly inspired by the sort of sights and sounds of Skyrim on the subject of Skyrim, and you can put whatever footage of Skyrim on in the final product that you want.
And of course, what we'd be talking about the most would probably be those specific moments, especially if something really funny happened, and then you'd wish that you actually had a copy of it, and then you'd also have the problem of whoever's playing it gets to see whatever goofy thing happens first, and then 5-10 seconds later, everybody else reacts. So that gets awkward.
That's true.
I'd like to sit down, and even not necessarily like let's plays or long plays or whatever they're calling them these days. Not necessarily even something like that, but just having a group of people with really good sense of humor, sitting down and just watching one person in particular playing a game that can easily be made fun of in some way, and just going to town. Like you said, Mystery Science Theater.
Yep. Well, even if you can't actively respond, as it were, to what you're seeing on the screen, you still have a lot of stuff that's inspired by the game and what you're watching. So we would just be sort of give each other standing orders. Let's not talk specifically about what we're seeing on the screen. Obviously, if something really funny happens and when something comes to our mind, then that's fine, because you have to keep the mood light. But
not only that, will be usually when we're streaming live, and we don't have a lot of fans that follow us there, but, we'll be talking to the people that's in chat when they're there. So, yeah.
Are we streaming live right now?
No, because Grover's gone, and Mike's not used to streaming quite yet.
Okay, so you do... Streaming is sort of the thing that you do now, rather than...
But usually he's just got, like, 1 week when we were talking about the SimCity stuff, he just had a couple of random shots of sitting around one of his towns, and he'd move it every now and then. He wouldn't actually play it. He'd just let all the stuff move around. Or he'd get on League of Legends and do a spectator game and while we talk. So it's not that it usually has anything to do with what we're talking about. It's just something for people to watch while we're talking. Because it is kind of hard to play a video game and be attentive at the same time.
True.
Because we've caught both Mike and Grover multitasking before, and they completely lose track of what's going on in the conversation.
This is true.
Well, it sounds like if, a show could be made out of, let's say that you and Mike and Grover all want to get in on a podcast to say, okay, well, let's do roughly an hour of actual audio recording, and then we'll say, I'll make up 15 minutes of just video material where I'm talking about news or whatever, and then you bring 50 minutes of video footage that you can stream after that as we talk, and then Mike does one, and then Grover does one, right?
If you can get them just the time and sometimes just the energy. It does take a lot of time to set up stuff sometimes. And in my case, is really all I worry about too much anymore is just the game news stuff. And it shows, I think, in the topic portions where we're a little more disorganized because of that. But yeah, if that's another problem. A lot of times when we're recording the audio itself, there can be things inside that audio that you can't really plan for that makes for a good animation later. And that's usually what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And that has to be all sort of, you're the sort of guy that's doing the creative editing, and that's sort of a creative process, so...
Because I'd like to be, late night TV and have most of the jokes pre-scripted, so all I have to do is just work on my timing and my sense of spontaneity. So that would be a nice way to work on that, and then everybody else could bring their own jokes too if they felt like it, or just off the cuff. I mean, some people have a talent like you do. I just kind of fumble into jokes usually.
Or you typo them on accident.
Yeah, I love a good point and lick adventure.
It's like those turkey legs, right?
Turkey legs and pencil. See, I can say random things too.
Yeah.
Your sockets are all upside down.
Again?
There's leftover granola in your hat. See, I know this. I can do this. You've been doing this to me for like 12 years.
It's just for some reason when I'm in commentator mode, they don't come to me quite as quickly. Which is sad because there's some lines that I've come up with that just...
It's true. You've come up with some really brilliant lines that are absolutely inexplicable to anybody else. That's true.
Again, that time when you guys were trolling that fantasy place and Second Life, and I just walk over to the unicorn and have that entire conversation with it. Everybody else is goofing off with the elves and the fairies and ticking people off, and I'm over there having this great big long one-sided conversation. Pardon my interruption, but I have a quandary to dispose of before it spins out and gets wrinkled. Has anyone present seen a fair maiden with a giant golden mark of exclamation above her head?
See, they would not really notice that you said something unusual, because they wouldn't really notice if you had said something that was completely apropos. They would just be like, well, the thing about that is I'm a fairy dragon from outer space. I'm an outer space virgin.
Yeah.
So,
Welcome to the internet.
My mom is the queen of the fairies, my dad is the queen of the vampires, and my brother is the queen of the unicorns. And I'm actually half werewolf, too. I've been playing internet for many years, so I've amassed all the different things that you can be, but I didn't decide to make any new characters, so they're all one now.
Quick, somebody narrate this crazy thing.
Was that Marcus the Martian?
Yeah. I actually started by scratching my nose, and then I just kind of ran with it. My nose, that is, it ran. I don't know.
I'm back now. He's gone now. He won't be coming back. Don't worry. I did my research.
Get one
I
of
had
the
no
raw
idea what a
sandwiches.
prinny was. I was like, why is there a pirate penguin thing with a backpack? And what's that all about? And then I did some research because I was going to be on your show.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh, okay, they're the souls of the dead or something? Penguins with peg legs? And they say
Basically.
dude a lot?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is very unusual.
Yes.
And then Wikipedia started in Japan. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
Everything makes sense now.
Yep.
All you need is a little stamp with the Japan, and suddenly things make sense.
Have you heard about this internet meme where Japanese schoolgirls do like a Dragon Ball Z thing, and they do some kind of big explosive move where like she plants her hand on the ground, makes it look like they're doing I don't know the moves. There's some Dragon Ball Z thing where somebody puts their hand on the ground and the ground sort of explodes and everybody gets thrown backwards. Have you seen this?
I have not, actually.
They do it and they time the photo so everybody's flying backwards. And we tried to do one last night at a party. You know, a bunch of old people, basically.
Improvement from the Harlem Shake, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. And it's just a photo, so, you know, it comes on a lot less strong.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it didn't work, because the only person airborne was, like, me, and I was only, like, 3 inches off the ground. Everybody else was just sort of squatting and smiling. I could share it, but I don't want to get into that.
No, I might use it for the show, and that would be embarrassing.
We could replace all their faces with Prinny's. That would make it probably a little bit more palatable to the modern viewer. Squatting penguin people.
And somebody with their hand on the floor in the lip.
That's right. And one guy floating.
There was one other PowerPoint I wanted to pickle before we ran out of time.
And vinegar.
Pickle vinegar. Vegemite.
He just smiled and gave me a Vegemite sandwich. One of the great philosophers said that, probably in 1985.
So yes, what do you think about making the occasional return to the show every now and then? Because I know there's some topics somewhere in your head that you've really wanted to come on the show for.
True. The one where you're talking about pickle vinegar, that one was a big one.
That was one of our classics.
That was off the cuff enough that I really needed to be there. Yeah, the ones where you're putting things on top of other things, like phone books and shoes and seashells.
That was when I was going into that whole Tetris in reverse thing.
Yeah, no,
it confused a lot of people. I try not to do that anymore.
Yeah, there's like a kaleidoscope stretched over his entire head, and there's bubbles on the inside, and you couldn't even park your car. So, yes, I would be very interested in coming back if that answers your question.
It does, especially with the...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird. I rode from space in a cauliflower. There's a squirrel in Catalonia that controls my legs.
You get some fantastic gas mileage, though. So come help me sort my socks?
That's right.
Are squirrels any good with wool?
Cyborg Patrick is no good with werewolves.
Wait,
he gets confused and he plays solitaire. What?
The sad thing is we could fill up a show with this nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we do every week. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to oil it, or it just won't. He won't even pick you up at the airport.
This week.
They don't make them like that anymore.
They don't.
You gotta order them special.
Well, nobody has the work ethic anymore for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have work ethic to pick people up at the airport.
Mm-hmm. Walter will come right to the ceiling. He'll ask for his shoes. You won't have them. Then you'll go to buy a hat and won't fit, won't suit you.
I was killing these bugs before they were cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps that up.
Mm-hmm. Did we mention Balloons for the Kids?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think that's our rambling for March 30th, 2013. That's episode 27. We're inching our way to episode 50. And I would really like to do some sort of giveaway contest thing of some sort for
giveaway
for the people that stuck with us for all these 50 episodes. I certainly do by 100. If we reach 100, somebody's getting a Steam game out there. I'm saying that now. That's not saying much because some of those Steam games are $2. But still. When the day comes, yes. I don't know if we'll do anything special for episode 50, but it's going to be really close to our 1-year anniversary by that point, because we've taken a few weeks off, and I think that puts it just about right. If we
What is the anniversary?
What is it?
What date?
September... Episode 1 was September 10th, 2012.
Wowee. Well, I hope to be there for at least a few more. I tend not to have Saturdays, but I realize that they're the perfect time to record for you guys. So,
well, you don't have to be...
We shall work something out.
Every week or anything. You don't have to be a regular. Just a guest host every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
We had Royal on here from Those Gentlemen Gamers. We're going to have Gatler one of these times. And there's going to be other people we're going to grab on here every now and then. Just to spice things up and to give us some extra topics to topic about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, you can find us at Twitter at what? You can find us on Twitter at PrinnyCast. Our email is prinnycast@gmail.com. Of course, you know where to find us on the internets here, because that's where you're watching us from. Don't forget Mike at the Bruzaz. Don't forget Grover at PrinnyCast_Grover for both of their streams when they're doing their own things. Marcus, do you have anything that you want to share with anybody to follow you or friend you or anything?
Don't ever get involved in a fight between a moose and a catfish. You won't win. You'll end up with just disgusting green ichor dripping from your mandibles. And your hat won't suit you. Your hat won't suit you. So stay off the drugs, stay off the pipe, and yeah, I can't believe you would ask me that.
No, it doesn't come off as a question that I normally ask people, so I thought I should throw it out there, and I think you made an excellent point that winners don't use frogs.
That's right.
I don't know what we're doing. So join us next week, hopefully.
Start again. No, start the whole show again.
We gotta start over again, it's not right.
Start over. It's no good. It's all crap.
Cut.
Run away. Cut. We're going to lunch. We're staying up all night.
Got it.
Yeah. I have nothing to share because I don't game enough to be properly topical, but I'm sure I will get addicted to another game, at which time I will be glad to take a few moments away from playing it and withering away to come and talk about it
Excellent.
on your delightful show.
A delightful show.
And I'm a Prinny now, so I will stick with my own kind.
And we're jumping, you might explode.
No.
That's okay. I'm sure I will reincorporate into another strange Japanese penguin man. Nanedayo.
So, yeah, that's the longest outro ever. Next week we should have Kroger back, because the three of us are going to gather some more of these guys, and we're going to do a little rating. And then we'll see you next week. Catch you next time, dude.
See you, dude.
Dude.